Welcome to a Drop 10 Media Production.
The Porcupine with Adam Nutter.
Yo, what is up? Adam Nutter. You guys know that. What's up, brother and sister bears? Welcome to the Porcupine. How are you? Real quick, this is live, so what do I got going on? The 29th, I'll be in Easton, Pennsylvania. The 30th, B&B Saloon in Jersey. August 12th and 13th, Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Coming out. Yay. Tickets, droptent.com/events. Follow me at Adam Nutter and all that stuff. Go check out my other podcast I do with the great Neil Wood, Cult of Us, youtube.com/Cult of Us. And if you're not subscribed to this on YouTube, go right now. Subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/Adam Nutter. All right. I feel like this episode's a mistake. I'm going to get shit on the whole time by everybody on this fucking podcast. So I'm going to have to be swinging hard. I will shit on my own dad. I don't care. So joining me on this episode, in order I bring them on, is my dad, Robert Nutter, Mr. Vice Chair himself, Joshua Smith, and some fucking schleb that his wife called me and begged me to bring him on because he's a loser. Mr. Jacob Winograd from the Biblical Anarchy podcast.
Oh God!
So the thing is, why porcupine? I mean, I'm just glad it's not a sheep.
Oh
why
shit!
porcupine?
I have to send a link to Anthony too. That's right. Why porcupine?
Why porcupine? But Mom and I are just happy it's not a sheep. So, but
I don't know, probably because libertarian stuff. Porcupine, I would assume. Just okay. That. Just it's not that smart of a clever name.
It's the only animal he really knows. You know what I mean? I mean, if you ask Adam to name like 5 animals at the top of the head, it's like porcupine,
pineapple. You know,
pineapple.
I've heard this before.
Female porcupine.
Female porcupine. Blue elephant.
Everybody, real quick, you want to just give plugs out of the way of anything you got going on? Dad, I mean, you always have your Twitter. If you want to just give your Twitter out real quick to the masses.
That's all right. I'm trying to remain a big secret until the very last, you know.
Yes.
Yo, I just saw your dad's shirt. That is an epic shirt.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I know.
Thank you.
It's a cool We Are the People Constitution shirt.
Of course, I hate to tell you it comes from China, but
well,
of course,
you know,
of course, it
There's
costs.
nothing more American than getting American
absolutely
propaganda merchandise made in China.
Yes, we support the CCP. You know.
Jacob, where can everybody find you?
On Twitter at Biblical Anarchy, and on the podcast it's Daniel 3 Biblical Anarchy on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. And then the website is daniel318.com.
Boom. Josh.
Dude, who the fuck plugs shows at the beginning of the show?
I'm gonna do it again at the end, guy. Just fucking I'm getting out of the way before I forget.
There is a gentleman on Twitter now who may or may not be me. That you can find at Balzania925. That's balls and then Anya, like lasagna, 925. And of course, you can always find my show at www.youtube.com/fightthedespots until YouTube kicks me off as well. And then you'll find me in Odyssey.
Yeah. YouTube's trash, but we're still there.
Yeah, they haven't kicked me yet.
Haven't kicked us off yet. So I bring everybody on today because I think this is a good panel to talk about just culture in America and what's been going on with just schools and kids. And before I even started that, I did want to talk about did you guys see AOC get fake arrested today?
Dude, it was that was awesome.
Hold on. Yeah, sorry.
That my was favorite awesome. Big booty Latina.
No, listen. It was awesome. That part that she got faked arrested. But there's another clip of Ilhan Omar running about 20 feet behind them, also acting like she's getting arrested with her hands behind her back. But there's no cops around her at all.
That's so funny.
It's the funniest shit I've ever seen. You got to find the clip because it was like she noticed. It was like the squad noticed that AOC was getting all the media time.
Okay, I got it.
And then she's like, "Oh well, I gotta get some too." And she puts her hands behind her back and just starts walking
so funny.
20 feet behind the police, dude. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, what a fucking disaster.
I loved it.
She sucks. Okay, you guys see this?
I saw this one, but I don't know if it'll show.
No, it is. I looked at it already. Watch.
Here comes Omar. Wait. She's like, wait a minute. I need some media too.
She literally just puts her hand behind her back.
No cops.
and
That's pathetic.
just slowly walks away, and then raises her hand in like the.
What a
AOC
fucking
did it too.
loser.
You see AOC do it?
Do you ever watch things that like our government does, and just like in the back of your head, you're just like, did Bin Laden do anything wrong?
Tell Tyler Yonke. Tyler Yonke's in the chat saying he needs my my Twitter handle again.
Yeah, put it in your profile. Like,
I
put it in your
already
profile.
followed you, buddy.
I didn't know you were back on Twitter. I have
Tyler.
to find you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I followed you too, Jacob. I'm pretty sure.
But
You'll
that,
see me.
that's-
It's a picture of Braveheart, but he's got a clown face. That's my that's my Twitter default right now, and it's balls on you. It's just look up Couch Surfer. That's the name of the profile. Couch Surfer.
I had Reed on my show last night, and I was just like, Twitter is like, it's no fun anymore. Like, there's no Josh, there's no
one.
Reed.
I know.
Like, it's just like,
I just got to read fucking Jacob's boring ass.
yeah,
takes
I got to
all
go
day.
on and make fun of Adam 24/7 now. And I mean, how many?
back.
Then it's like,
Hey,
how
that's
much
my
can you make-
job.
yeah, but how much can you make fun of someone with brain damage? Like, at some point, it's
A
just-
lot,
it's
apparently. It's
cruel.
pretty easy.
Yeah,
There's so much to do. There's so much material to go.
I also have brain.
It's one of the
damage,
reasons
so
I
get it.
drink. So
Look, I forgot. I also last minute invited Anthony to this. Bring it up also real quick. Anthony Portillo. Sorry, totally forgot. to
That's
send
the
you this
real
invite.
vice chair right there. Buddy.
What's up? I guess the rest of you boys didn't have anything better to do and hang with this loser.
Joke was
huh?
already made.
Mr.
A joke was already
Portobello
made.
himself.
Bro, I just bought a motorcycle, so I got like way better things to do. But I decided I'd do it. You know, I'm doing charity work tonight, buddy.
Wow, you guys are throwing your A game at me.
Everybody's slumming
We all
on
are. We
Tuesday.
all
I
are.
dig it.
I
I mean,
bought a
you've done the
19.
most charity work, Mr. Nutter. All due respect to you. I don't know how you put up with this guy for 35 years.
Fair. Actually, I don't know either. It's a good
it's
question.
been the best.
Talk to me.
It's been the best 3 years of my life. Don't worry.
I bought a 1981 what is it? 1981 not Suzuki. What the fuck? Why can't I remember right now? What's wrong
Shannon,
with me?
message me Josh's Twitter too, please.
Kawasaki, a 1981 Kawasaki. It's like a KZ 250 CSR, but it only has 9,000 miles on it. I bought it for $650.
Bro, that sounds like something a surfer kid would buy in LA.
Dude, it's amazing. It's so
Like,
good. It
honestly.
gets, I did 145 miles on it on $6 in gas.
That's because there's 100. Oh, I think you said 145 miles an hour. Like that's no way.
No, I think it's a 250. It does 55 miles an hour, dude.
I was gonna say I don't think it goes past 50.
So in other words,
I got-
you bought a
I got-
dirt bike with a license plate.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks like it looks like a mini hog, dude. It's really cool. But I got it. So I got
It's
it
like a penis. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I bought it about an hour away from Des Moines, like on the back roads. So and I had to go pick it up at like 10 o'clock at night, and so I had to ride it back on like a 2-lane highway that's 65 miles an hour in the middle of nowhere with deer everywhere. And Julia's like, "Hey, don't worry, I'm gonna follow right behind you." I'm like, "Why? So if I fall, you could make sure I'm dead by running me over?" Jesus, stay away from behind me, But it's cool, man. We needed the help on gas money, man. We're gonna save a bunch of gas now. So
Yeah, that's cool. My car is actually surprisingly decent on gas. You would think it's not, but it's actually pretty good. Not to brag, but I did the Bronco, not to brag or anything, but I do have a Bronco. Everybody,
I have a 2001 Toyota Echo, which is literally just a tin can on wheels. The only benefit to it is it's good on gas. But if I ever get in like a fender bender, I'm gonna fucking die.
I know. Oh, sorry, you guys are boring me. No, now I get 65 miles to the gallon, dude. It's great.
dude, I didn't even know an Echo. I thought that was the name of a dolphin from a video game, from fucking like '93.
Yeah, Toyota made so that was the Echo from 01 to 05. Before that, it was the Toyota Tercel, I think, and now it's the Toyota Yaris. But it's just like literally like their like most economy car. I mean, you can buy you used to be able to buy it brand new for like under 20 grand. Now it's probably a bit more than that because of the market, but it's literally like no features, manual windows, manual like everything. And it's just like, it's like the minimal body, you get an engine, transmission, wheels, and that's it.
Is
But
this
you
what
get good gas
happens when you
mileage.
start
You
to
get like
have?
40. You get like 40 miles to the gallon just because of how light it is.
Is this
Man,
what
I
happens
thought
when you
this was
start
gonna
to get a whole family and kids? You start to just get the uncoolest car imaginable.
Now I've had this car since I was in high school, bro.
Oh, so you've been uncool that long? Crazy.
I knew this was going to be a shit show, but I didn't know I signed up for
He's trying
a
way too hard. Look at-
2001 Toyota Echo
Nutter's trying way
commercial.
too hard right now, dude.
Well, that was a genuine question that turned into a roast.
I'm not sure when this turned into a car show, but all right.
I don't know anything about cars, honestly.
Yeah.
So the fact that
Clearly,
Echo
brought
is a
it
new
up.
car to me. Oh no, okay. So again, reason for this culture, and everyone here has kids.
Culture,
Everyone-
you have none. We know.
I am uncultured swine, but you guys
Wait, are
have
you
culture.
a childless grifter, bro? Is that what's going on right now?
No, what? That's
You're-
you made me sound like a creep.
I said, you're a childless heathen or what?
No, I have a kid.
Oh, okay. I thought you did.
Yeah. No, I'm not a creep. Thank you, though.
Yeah, that's his only one redeeming quality. So I have to say.
Yeah. Thank you.
You don't
Thank
look
you.
like one anymore now that you got the beard back. When you were just rocking the mustache, you looked like knockoff Freddie
I wasn't
Mercury.
just rocking I just one time trimmed it too close to my face, and I had a predominant mustache. Okay, I'm not trying to be Freddie Mercury part 2.
It was really the raincoat that.
Be honest,
really
you just
put-
forgot. Like you were like mid shaving and then just forgot the mustache and walked out. Okay.
No, I'll never not have a beard again.
Yeah, you got to keep the beard, dude.
I gotta keep the beard. I look like,
Yeah.
I look like a piece of shit. I look like a
Only
worm.
Reed can pull off the mustache among
Yeah,
everyone here.
something about him is okay with that for sure. I don't know why he looks good as a creep.
I do look good as a creep. I think I look good with just the mustache. How dare you?
Congratulations,
Adam.
Adam.
Congratulations, Caleb. You managed to type a whole sentence out without any typos. I'm proud of you.
Wow, and in all caps. But I have Nerd on because he's
Yeah,
fucking
but with boomer energy, so it cancels out. God damn it! All right, you need to actually start the topic.
Okay,
of the
sorry. The roasting's
We're
too
just
fun.
gonna keep going.
Well, the comic in me is like, well, we got to keep going the roasting. But then the other part of me is like, no, wait, this is also a libertarian podcast. Okay, culture. Obviously, there's a big push in indoctrination of children, which again, we all have kids, and that's well, I am your only kid, and I'm a grown man, so you don't really count in this anymore, I guess. But I guess you can. I do want to bring you on for a comparison of today's, I guess, school environment to when you were growing up in school. How vastly different were the fucking two? Like that. This is for you. Like absolutely.
Yeah, this is totally night and day.
Like
I mean,
what was the core curriculum back when you were being taught? It was just like basic bullshit, like basic math, fucking science, history.
Yeah, I mean, go back to reading, writing, and arithmetic. I mean, you could talk about your grandparents saying the same thing. Same thing of my generation. It mentioned sex, none of that stuff. So today it's just wild. And every time I see it, I mean, if you go on any of the YouTubes and you hear these people, and a lot of them are teachers, which really freaks me out. And the stuff that they want to teach the kids, or they are teaching the kids, is just something I couldn't conceive of even 10 years ago.
Wait, how did you survive in such a barbaric time where you didn't learn about the proper use of pronouns? I mean,
Yeah.
gosh,
Can you imagine?
I know it's real rough.
I just want to highlight that he said
civilized. I mean,
I just want to highlight that he said any of the YouTubes.
He did. I was gonna let it go.
Yeah.
I was gonna
it
let
was
that
good.
moment
It
go.
was really good.
You guys made me stop roasting, but I was gonna be like, that was a real thing to say, right?
Yeah, that was really good. That was very boomer of you, sir.
Well, with him, I have to start drinking early. So
Fair. I get it. Yeah,
He's gonna say the Facebook next.
yeah. Oh, the Book of Faces.
The Napster. Do you guys have Napster?
Oh man.
What would be the blowback if you, for real, like if you had a teacher back then, right? And let's say even grandma and grandpa, like you're an actual parents, and you had a teacher back then being like, actually, this is what I think about sexual behavior. What would grandpa do to that? Like, what would if they got blowback? I'm serious. What would they actually do? Like, I know they're not gonna go down and fuck.
Even in my time when you were growing up, we'd be going right up to the teacher. That teacher, depending on who it was, would either lose some teeth or they wouldn't be teaching very long.
Yeah, I mean,
Very
it's
simple.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
but like now, I mean, you see all these school board meetings, and like they shut down parents who are like asking legit. Like there was that one dad who's like, "I'm going to read you an excerpt from a book that you're teaching," and then he was reading it graphically. He's like, and then the anus in the vagina or whatever, and then they're like, "Oh, sir, you can't read that." It's like he's like, it's too
I think I
harsh. And
saw
like,
that.
you're teaching
Yeah.
the kids this. Like, what are you talking about? Josh, you have the most kids, so you deal with this the most because.
Well, and it's rough for us because we really just want to like Julie just wants to homeschool all the kids, right? And I agree that I think that's the best way you can go about things. I know that's not for everybody, but we have kids that we took out of state custody, and they require that we have them in a public school.
Really?
Yes.
So you can't homeschool them by law.
No.
That's crazy.
If I were a parent today and I had the resources to, I would homeschool my kids. I would not send them into that situation.
But like they'll come home and tell me things, and I'll be like, no, come here, sit down. Let me have a talk to you. We had some conversations about the Civil War that their teachers didn't like very much, and we had what was the most? There was a recent one where he came home. Oh, my oldest daughter, who's 17, she went to a continuation school because she was just way too far back. There was no way that we had the resources to get her caught up, because they had been to school in years, 3-4 years or something. And she came over talking to me. Oh, I can't remember what it was. It was like some it was like the mass shooting statistics or something like that. And she's like, it's always racist this and racist that. And they're all this racist. And I was like, sit down, let's have a talk about stats. Stats can be used to prove anything you want them to prove, And I started explaining to her, and we got done with the conversation. She's like, wow, Dad, I had no idea, So I try to, like, the ones that are in public school, I try to, like, sit them down and be like, let me explain to you the school of life way that this happened, not just what the teachers are teaching you, because it's not always true. It's just not, it's the victor writes the history, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of our history, especially American history, is written by the victor of shit that and they just wrote it as this grandiose victory speech, basically, on how they were all completely virtuous and no one did anything wrong, and the Union was just trying to save the country, and it's all bullshit. So,
and you don't believe that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you don't believe the exact school teachings and textbooks from the government talking about the Union?
I'm trying to remember what the other one was, but he was doing a full report about the Civil War, and he's like, so the Civil War was all about slavery, right? And I'm like, oh god, here we go, dude. You can't get me started on this shit,
Or even like imagine if America had lost the Revolutionary War. It's like, so instead of the thin blue line, we'd have the thin red line. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Like it's just like it's bad to be anti-cop, until you win, and then once you win, then you can retroactively be like, oh, it was okay to those are bad cops, but
right.
Ours are, of course, always righteous and there to protect and serve us and watch outside as our children get gunned down by insane lunatics that are most likely armed by our intelligence agencies. But
I was just gonna say, and
why does your dad look like he doesn't have any arms right now? What's going on?
Yeah, it's true. You do.
Oh, there he goes. There moved.
There we go. 2 arms, 2 hands.
But that is a good point. Not to go off the topic too much, but the gun thing real quick. That kid who just shot that shooter in Indiana.
Yeah, Elijah. I don't remember his last name.
He shot him from 40 yards away. 40 yards away. Fucking
fired 10 shots and hit him 8 times.
And
40 yards.
Again, like, that just goes to show you, yeah, man. And then you had 400 cops lined up with fucking rifles and armor and listening to fucking children get shot.
Yeah.
Remember the shooting at a church like a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
the guy had a 45 and shot
him right in the neck.
Guy from all the way across the sanctuary.
It was on video. It was awesome.
Yeah, dropped him as soon as he walked in, dude. It was great.
It's pretty obvious that these no gun zones really are killing zones just by having a no gun zone.
Yeah, it's like that tweet that I forgot from where, but it was like that's like putting up a no shark zone, but like sharks are like, well, I'm still gonna be a shark. So
no shark zone, huh? All right, cool.
Right, cool, thanks. So I'm gonna kill everybody.
Not gonna be spear guns around here.
It ties into the culture though, because there's something in today's culture that teaches people this weird backwards way of thinking, where it's like you start with sort of like I don't know, some kind of weird end goal that you want, and you have to just sort of retardedly put that into law and act like that's going to work. And if anyone disagrees with you, then obviously they don't agree with your end goal. It's this very bizarre way of thinking. It's not even thinking. It's literally just reacting and people following marching orders. It's like people because I think we would all agree we don't want kids, or really anyone, to be murdered by mass shooters, but it's especially upsetting when you see these videos and images of kids in schools and classrooms, and all they can do is just hide under their desks while these shooters roam through the halls and nobody does anything about it. And it's good that people are pissed off about that, but then it's like, all right, well, what are you going to do about that? And there's something very perverse in our culture that so many people go to, well, obviously what we need to do is make ourselves more vulnerable. It's like how does that compute in people's brains, rather than thinking that the right thing to do is, well, we obviously need to make ourselves stronger in order to be safer. But people have this weird thing where they think that strength or aggression or any sort of standing up for yourself is evil in a way. You know what I mean? It's just if anything other than letting big daddy government come in and take care of everyone is, just completely dismissed.
Well, I think two things real quick. After they put out the video of the Uvalde shooting and the recent one where they had to put that editor's note, like the sound of children screaming had been removed, which now makes you realize that when we first saw those images, we didn't know any of the sounds were going on. We would just assume they heard gunshots. Now, for a fact, we know that whole time they were actually listening to these kids literally scream for their life, and they still, like cowards, did nothing. And the fact that I got suspended from Twitter for telling them they should hang themselves is fucking crazy. But whatever.
Yeah. You shouldn't have been suspended for that. Hey, my suspension was way crazier than yours, though, dude.
True.
like I literally just put one word in a comment. I just said death, and that was it, and it was gone.
Yeah,
permanently, forever.
Yeah, it's fucking. And the second thing about the thing to Jacob's point is, well, those are the good guys with the guns, right?
Who?
And they want the cops, right? That was the liberals leftist. No, that's leftist argument, right?
I don't fuck them. They don't know what they're talking about.
Of course, but that's the whole argument. They go, well, good guys should have the cops only need the guns. Okay, well, we just watched what the good guys with your version of the good guys with the guns did. They watched your kids die. Yeah. So
they actually held the parents back from going in.
They held the other cops back whose wife was shot.
Yeah. It ended up being a fucking border patrol agent that walked in and dusted that guy.
An off-duty border patrol agent.
Didn't they injure somebody who was trying to go and
multiple parents?
I think
it was one of the parents. I think
one of the parents, and they disarmed one of the cops whose daughter was in there.
Absolute
and that cop who was on the phone and was like, "Oh, look, the cop was on the phone." That was the cop whose wife got killed. And I'm like, so "You didn't go in?"
Yeah,
dude, what a pussy!
And held him down.
What? No, it would have been. Guy.
It would have been it would have been suicide by cop for me because I was going in.
100% going in. It's crazy that it took an off-duty border patrol agent to be like, "Wait, what are we doing?"
Yeah. No, we're going in right now.
How long have we been out here? 40 minutes? Like what? It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Anthony, you have two older kids now. Your kids are awesome. Who I met, but they're obviously 18, 16, right? 17. I mean, so did you catch any of this like indoctrination, CRT, fucking? Crazy shit with them?
For sure. And I see it now a lot with my nephew who's 7. So like he lives in the city. So it's even worse there in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like not only do you have the stunted growth of, having a kid having to wear a mask every day for 2 years and not learning social cues and things like that, but now you're telling a 7-year-old kid that he's born racist. As if that is something that a 7-year-old should think about. It falls in the same thing. Like, do 7-year-olds really need to be thinking about sex? You know what I mean? Like, I think about a 7-year-old from, I'm probably dating myself here, but obviously you just said how old my kids were. Like, I think about the little boy from Kindergarten Cop. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. Right? I'm like, that's all a 7-year-old should think. And no, it's pretty simple. But what happened at some point between, like, when I was in high school, and I don't really know exactly when it happened, but sometime between when I got out of high school in 2000, like this weird sense of entitlement started to form in young people, and they thought, and they were started to be taught that their emotions were the things that should drive them, and that they were entitled to feel safe, and their feelings meant more than everybody else. And that's the thing that bothers me the most about these situations. Like, those cops are the good guys now until they shoot a black guy tomorrow who's committing a crime, right? Then they're racist. It's like gun-free zones work, but if you talk about how Chicago has X amount of murders every weekend, they're like, oh, you must be a racist, you're a Nazi, because it's all emotional responses. They don't have thought and logic. They just want to dismiss your argument, So with my kids, I was like, dude, during virtual school, I was lighting teachers up on emails. I was listening to those classes because I was working from home, and for a period of time I was laid off. And I was in the email like, "Yo, bro, I heard what you said today. Like, don't tell my kid you're a left-wing cuck. It's like it's algebra class." He
Anthony's 4 tequilas deep, just fucking firing off.
In his underwear and a robe and shit. He's like, shut
drinking no shirt on.
He's like Alfred Molina and fucking Boogie Nights, just fucking slaying, throwing firecrackers in his house.
I've seen Anthony drinking. He's a funny dude. So here's the thing, dude. Here's the thing, dude. The CRT is all by design, right? Look, we're living in a time with like the least amount of racism ever.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Legitimately, nobody talks about this. We are literally living in a time with the least amount of racism, and the schools are a an indoctrination center for the government. Once the Department of Education became a thing, and what was it, like 1971 or something like that, and racism started dying out, they realized they have to keep us fucking divided to keep us dependent on a system that's supposed to keep us that's supposed to force us to integrate. I mean, that's
Cultural
really
Marxism.
right.
Yeah, it's called. It's all CRT is what
Right.
James said. It's called
So
Marxism,
CRT, so CRT is their way of, because look, kids, racism is a learned behavior. I mean, you're not like a
Right.
you're
It's
not like a
environmental.
5-year-old and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go over to my classmate and drop the N-word. You know what I mean? Like that's not a thing that you do.
Did you ever see
And
that
so-
experiment with the babies? Like little
No.
kids, they put a bunch of little kids together of all mixed races, and they all played like there was
Yeah,
no problem
they don't
interaction
give a
because
shit.
there's no fucking environmental influence to them.
So when you have parents who have grown up, being not racist and anti-racist in a society that's the least racist in history, probably of all time, what do you do to keep them divided? You have to teach their children racism. And that's what CRT is. It's teaching their children racism to keep us divided, to keep us fighting over, this right, left, racist, bigot, transphobe, homophobe.
It's becoming the progressive version of Jim Crow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Really all it is.
exactly what it is. And it's them trying to keep our children separated because we're not teaching our children racism. So they're going to teach our children racism. And that's why they don't want us watching their curriculum. That's why they don't want us peeping in on the classrooms during class,
That's
because
right.
they know as parents, we're going to go, what the fuck are you teaching my kids?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Fuck, I still have a train of thought. Jesus Christ, brain trauma. Wow, it was crazy. I was literally speaking a sentence and just fucking literally left my mouth as it was
I know
fucking
how you
saying
feel,
it.
man. happens to me all the time during my own show.
I had
so
such a
get it.
good point to back up your fucking point about what you just said, Josh. God damn it. Someone else say something quick.
Well,
I'll think of it.
I tell you, one of the good things, the only good things about getting older is you're able to see society from a wide range of years, and you see how a lot of this has progressed. And it's really scary because you went from a society that believed in God and doing the right thing, and it's just flipped end over end.
Papa
Yeah.
Nutter.
Well,
Papa Nutter, tell us about the Civil War.
Well, I don't go back quite.
But stroke your
far.
mustache while you do it.
well, your dad just talked about something I was going to talk about, which is that, like, really, like, I think what Jordan Peterson says is 100% accurate, which is that people are fundamentally religious as like a baseline, and people who think they aren't are just completely lacking any self-awareness and any understanding of human psychology. So like we are psychologically oriented to, create some kind of hierarchy of values, and whatever is at the top of our hierarchy of values is going to be the thing that gets functionally our worship and is functionally our religion. And when people started abandoning the church, when people started rejecting God and Christian values, they didn't become irreligious. They just, other things have rushed in to fill the void. And this new corporate CRT, cultural Marxist, woke, like amalgamation of all these different things, it's like basically this new secular religion that is taking over and poisoning people's minds. And that's why they don't use their brain. That's why they don't use reason, because really at the root of this religion is actually a very deep anti-reason, really anti-human mentality. You know what I mean? And the archetypes that are driving this are, really, I mean, from my perspective, from my religious perspective, I mean, I view the fundamental baseline archetypes driving the current thing going on in our culture as fundamentally demonic, as fundamentally being like the root of the sin, of the original sin in the garden. You know what I mean? Where like the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and basically why it was wrong for Adam and Eve to eat that was because it was basically telling God, like, no, we don't need you to tell us right from wrong. We can define right and wrong for ourselves. We can be our own gods, and we can be like you and create reality and create truth in our own vision. And that's the original sin, and that's what our culture is today. It's this, like, at the root of it is like this weird self-deistic, self-worship, like spirit, you know what I mean? Like, and that really comes out in all the the alphabet people, the LGBTQ plus ABCD, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
Bro,
like
they just don't want you. They just don't want you shoving your views down their throat. That's all. Dude.
right, yeah, they
Right.
don't, yeah, exactly.
But it's all right for them to do it to you.
Right.
It's okay for them.
I said
But
this
you're
today.
right.
I said this today on Twitter. I said you are not allowed to be anti any group identity anymore unless it's theism. That's it.
Right. I was gonna say, so like Jacob, you kind of said it, but the left will mock religion openly and be like, "You believe in God, you fucking retard." But then everything the government says, they're like, like it's like they just suck the dick of the government.
That's not
their
true,
religion.
Adam. That's not true, Adam. Because if you know what happens if you criticize God's chosen people,
Oh, that is true.
then they'll freak out.
Well,
dude.
That is
well,
true.
when you said, I was going to say earlier, when you said this is the least racist society in the world, I said, except I wanted to chime in with, well, except for Israel, but
Dickie made a good point. He's in quotes, homeschool kids are socially behind. A parent who sends their kid to public school who doesn't work a day in his life and gets shot in school instead of finishing class at 11, going to work at 12,
Jesus,
at 15.
dude.
But yeah, he's kind of right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude, no,
He made his point.
he made his point,
dude,
yeah.
but my oldest is 7, and so we just did his first grade so a PA makes you do yearly evaluations that you have to get some certified evaluator to review like the year and make sure like you taught your kid what was sort of required by the state. And our evaluator was like blown away. They were like, your son's like at a 3rd grade level at like reading and writing. And like my son like would not stop talking like the entire time. I was just talking about all the things that he had learned and was excited to learn. And like, kids in public school aren't like that. Like kids in public school don't want to learn. They don't talk about like maybe a couple do, but for the most part, that's abnormal. But like my kids, when we're homeschooling them, like we don't have to push them to learn things. Like they have that naturally on their own. And what suppresses that is putting them in what is essentially these prison camps where everyone's forced to do exactly the same thing. And you can't talk unless you're talked to first. Imagine being put in prison from the time you're 6 years old to the time you're 18, and then being released into the world and then going, wow, why are people so, intellectually stunted and they don't have the life skills to go out and compete in the marketplace and take care of themselves? It's like, oh, well, no fucking shit. Like that's what public schools do to kids, is like they actually stunt their natural growth.
Yeah, especially as you become an adult and you look back at schooling and you're like, oh, it was literally just them being like, sit down, shut the fuck up. I'm going to tell you what's right. And if you question me outside of like the obvious questions of like, the curriculum, we're going to like give you shit or push back or give you detention or expel you. And it was like, I mean, again, I went to a Catholic high school, so it was a little different, but fucking, oh, wow. You just read Dickie's.
Fucking Dickie, dude. Jesus
I
Christ.
put that up already. You were looking down. I already put that up.
Oh my God, Dickie. Wow.
But no, but like I went to a Catholic high school, so it was like a little different. It was a little more streamlined to for a reason, for like a cause. But like even then, like if you ever question like something, even in the religious sense, or not even religious, but even just question like a historical point, they'd be like, "Well, that's what we're telling you." It was still very much that, even as a Catholic private school, it wasn't like there was like a lot of room for like.
Well, that's because it's like they
discussion.
took a statist institution and just
Right.
tried overlaying Catholicism on it, but it doesn't work. I mean, in the Bible, it says, God speaks out against mixture. It's the idea like you can't have two masters. So like if you're taking something that's ultimately satanic and then trying to like make a Christian version of it, like no, that doesn't work.
No, but
and I think that's actually a great point, Jacob, because all this is really about being evil, and it's just evil in the world, evil in people. Evil the way that people are trying to interject their own thoughts and their own policies, and it's sort of like an anti-religion, like you had said.
And really, like a lot of the a lot of the quote unquote libertarians that we kicked out of, were either overtly kicked out or functionally kicked out because they all rage quit. So over the past year with the Mises Caucus takeover, like they weren't, in my mind, real libertarians, because to me, real libertarianism is not the mentality of I need to be free to be as evil as I can be. Like that's not true liberty. Like liberty that is completely cut off from any sort of like moral responsibility to your neighbors and the future generations, like that's not true liberty. That's just like radical degeneracy. That's just like, I want to do whatever the fuck I want with no consequences. But
Right.
you can't have liberty, you can't have freedom without responsibility. And it's the rejection of responsibility, both personal responsibility and even like a sort of social responsibility. You know what I mean? To be like, you know what like promoting certain things in our culture actually matters. And like the idea that all cultures are just equally the same and multiculturalism is an unparalleled good. Like these are all just lies made up by the regime to make it easier for them to push their their tyranny on us.
I'm not opposed to multiculturalism, right? Like I think it's great. I grew up in California and I want taco carts on every corner, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I
of
really
course.
do. Okay. I just want to make that clear. But forced integration is terrible, and that's one of the
Forced anything is bad.
Yeah,
I
one
mean,
of the it's like it's all, and all these lowberts get mad at you if you talk about forced integration and all this shit. And but really, I mean, freedom
It's a
of
real thing.
association. Yeah, freedom of association is like one of the biggest core tenets. I mean, how can you have private property without what I
Right.
mean? Like without it, you can't. You absolutely
I think you can
cannot.
have a sort of multiculturalism, but it has to be subservient to some sort of meta culture that binds them together. Like you can't, like the idea that you could have like fundamentalist Christians next to fundamentalist Islamists next to like radical woke progressives, and like that's all
with
going
the
to.
with the radical Islamists around, those woke progressives aren't going to last very long.
Well, yeah, it's kind of my point. But my point
They're
is
gonna be
just that
throwing up
like
a lot of rooftops if you catch my drift.
I'm not saying that there's only. I want to be careful here. Like I'm not saying that like everyone has to agree with me or they're evil, but I think there can be cultures that are bad, and I think the left is unwilling to admit that.
Oh, I see what you're
because
saying.
their culture is
Yeah.
bad. That's why.
Right? Yeah.
Their culture is fucking demonic. I mean, just like you were saying, it's horrible. They're literally, if you look at the way they approach all this shit,
Yeah.
it's all just a giant ploy to subvert any kind of morality in this country. I mean, that's really what it is at the end of the day. That's the left's whole goal. I mean, everything they do is to try and subvert what they know is moral. That's the
Right.
thing, is they know what is moral. You know what I mean? They know it's not okay to bring kids to a drag show where performers are waving their dicks around and taking dollars in their G-strings, right? Like they know that's not a moral thing. They know that's not a good and moral thing to do, but they're going to do it anyways as a just like, hey, fuck your moralism, right? It's like, dude, you're ruining any kind of sanctity of any kind of culture we had in this country at all. I mean, it's gone.
Yeah.
As
Well,
a former left winger who used to think that conservative Christians who were, and I want to be clear here, I'm not trying to make a point about going after gay people, but the whole argument that like, well, if we normalize gay marriage, then the next thing is going to be like, going after the kids and normalizing pedophilia. Like, can we
Yeah,
just
but they're
admit
doing
like,
that though.
yeah, like can we just admit that the conservative Christians were right about that?
Yeah.
Like,
We've been right about
Absolutely.
everything, dude. We've been right about. That's the thing. It's like look, the COVID conspiracy theorists have been right about everything.
everything, literally everything we
Dude,
said.
literally, I need to
no,
make
the
a
science
jar.
changed, Josh.
No, I need to make a jar, an Alex Jones was right jar. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
everything he said has come true. And it's the same with the conservative Christians. Hey, if you start doing this, you start letting dudes wave their dicks around in the street, eventually
Right,
they're
and
going to
there's a
start coming for the kids.
There's
It's-
a difference between saying we should tolerate something, like we shouldn't use the force of government to
Right.
stop people from
Right.
doing something, and then saying, well, we should normalize this and celebrate it and push it out into every corner of the culture and tell people that like you should do this and
100%.
it's good for you to do.
And
Do you
I was gonna
remember-
say, just
do you
to
remember-
bring
oh,
it back to just to bring it back to make your point, Jacob. I'll talk it out of the gay thing. Prostitution. I'll say that. Yeah, I don't think we should use the state to enforce it, but I'm not going to teach my daughter, if I had a daughter, like, you should grow up to be a whore. I think that's really good for you. Like, shut up. Like, no one's doing that.
I was just about to say that. Do you not
You
remember
can't
the heat?
use that word.
Yeah. Do you remember the heat that I took for making that post on Twitter?
Yes. Yeah.
Because it was the big, the issue du jour for that week was like normalize sex work. And I was like, no,
don't.
I'm not going to fucking
disgusting.
normalize it. Legalize? Sure. Normalize? Absolutely not. And they're like, well, why wouldn't you normalize it? Not normalizing it makes it,
because it's
this dark black market. I'm like, because listen, to me, normalizing means telling my daughters, hey, that's a totally normal thing to do, and you should be able to do it. I'm not going to do that.
Exactly.
I'm not going to tell my daughters, hey, when you grow up, I want you to go out and blow dudes for money. No, I'm not going to do that. Right. That's normalizing.
It's like, hey, when you get up, can you just try to get all the STDs in one shot from one night?
Yeah, fuck it. Have as many babies as you want. Get all your abortions. No, dude, I want my kids to know that that's not the path for them.
If you don't get AIDS, you're clearly homophobic.
Yeah. Right. Now, I'll tell you this as a father, if my daughters ended up being whores, I would feel that I was a failure as a father.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not normal. That's not a normal thing. You know what I mean? That's like saying, hey, let's normalize fucking heroin. Sure, it should be legal, but should it be normalized?
Well, and you know what?
No.
Here's the thing. And then people will respond to that, go, well, I guess you don't love your kids. It's like, what do you mean by love? Like, love isn't just the like, oh, I'm going to always say positive things about everything you do and you're such a good child. No, if you love someone, you want the best for them. You want them to thrive. You want them to succeed in life. It means like you don't just sit there and congratulate them and encourage every little thing they do. That is not love.
No, absolutely not.
They want to teach your kids, if you don't do that, then you're the problem.
Right.
Like if you don't support your daughter doing that, you're the problem. It's, it kind of goes back to what I was saying in school. For us, it was sit down and shut the fuck up. But then it became like, sit down, take this pill when you asked the question. And they were like, just drug the kids and chemically.
Well, that was our generation.
From the parents, you know what I mean? And then you take it a step further. Oh, I feel weird. I have questions. And they're like, maybe you're trans and your parents are assholes and transphobes if they don't want to support you.
Yeah, and you're a racist.
Yeah.
No. So my that happened to me when I was a kid. I do have severe ADHD. I have severe adult ADHD now. I know that's what I have, but it's a part of my fucking personality, right? Like, okay, don't ask me to do one thing at a time. It just doesn't work that way. I have 100 things I need to do today, and I'm going to get them all done at some point next month. Okay, but they immediately took me to see a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist like, you have severe ADHD. Here's meth, right? I mean, that's really what they did.
Right.
They're like, take
Adderall and shit.
Yeah. Well, they didn't even have Adderall when
whatever the version of that
was. Ritalin, right? And so they put me on this meth, and for somebody with ADHD, an upper slows you way the fuck down. I mean, it's what it does, right? And it makes you focus and all this shit. And so my mom's like, dude, it took your soul away. Like it literally made you a completely different person. You weren't who you were anymore. And I took you off that drug within 3 weeks. You were off that drug.
Talking about culture. Again, you just talked about something that they never talk with all these shootings. If they're not all glowy, if you get my, see what I'm saying?
They're all on meds.
Exactly. They're all on SSRIs. Yeah. And no one ever wants to, again, the fucking anti-gun crowd, everyone's be like, oh, they're all on severe antipsychotics. Oh, maybe we should look into that. Oh, maybe they're all most of them are from bad homes. Oh, maybe we should look into that. Oh, most of them, again, from fatherless homes. Oh, we should probably look into that. It's all these things that no one ever wants to talk about. But
they want the shootings, though. They want the shootings, though.
Of course they do.
That's why they don't look into the SSRIs. That's why they don't look into the war on drugs and hallucinogenics and psychedelics. That's why they want to lock up fathers and create more fatherless homes, because that's the shit that helps them push their agenda. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's the crack. Yeah. The crack epidemic was all about taking fathers out of homes. Of course. Dude. That's what it was.
Of course. Dude, so was Biden's crime bill. All that shit was.
Yeah.
All that shit
was always about getting
ruin
the family unit. It's cultural Marxism 101. I mean, ruin the family unit and you can push whatever agenda you want. That's
how they do it with heroin, with the white crowd, with the white community. Yeah, it was crack with the black community.
They fucking just destroyed Seattle, dude. I mean, destroyed it.
Dude, West Virginia was already not great, but it's even worse now because
the Boone County mating call, bro. I seen it. Dude. They got their pills shaking.
I love Dickie's comment. The white pill, our enemies are not breeding, and like that's also such a also at the root of the cultural divide is that these people don't understand economics. You know what I mean? And and that's why at the root they have this anti natalist, anti-human archetype that's driving them, which is just not only is it like evil and depraved, but it's like economically destructive. You know what I mean? Like if you have a society that's built on like these presuppositions about like humanity being a cancer to society and how like you should maximal normalization of abortion and don't have kids and don't have large like people are shamed for having large families like
Hey, Josh.
I say me and Josh, but like compared to Josh, I feel like I have a small. I have 4 kids, and I feel like I have like
No,
nothing
dude,
compared.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump them up.
You got to pump those up, buddy. You got to start
Technically,
adopting
we
like
have
an
7 now.
adult. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you can't make them fast enough, then you got to adopt them, dude. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I adopted fuck, what's his name? The shit on Twitter.
Did you forget one of your
Great
kids'
dad
names?
you are.
Yeah, no, the young
little one,
David Brady. I adopted David.
Oh
Brady.
yeah, no, but I had already adopted him though, so you can't have him.
Okay,
I'll take you to court.
Take him
Yeah,
to court.
I listen, dude.
By the way, Adam is up for adoption, so anyone.
Oh,
who
we'll
wants
take
to
Adam
adopt
too.
him,
That's fine.
you can take
Finally go to a happy home.
He only
could
counts
act-
with 0.5.
He could actually contribute to our bills. So no, so here's the thing, dude.
I still
He
sleep
doesn't
outside,
have
though.
a real job. How do you think he's going to do that?
That's true, dude.
I'll just
Fuck.
tell dick jokes
I didn't think
outside
of
for
that.
money.
Yeah, dude. We'll put him downtown Des Moines with a
Like a
sign. So
street
we'll
preacher.
make dick jokes for change. That'll work.
I brought home $20 today, Dad.
No,
I think he has that sign. We'll work for jokes.
I kind of look at it this way, like every time they make fun of me or they talk shit about me wanting to have a big family and having more kids, it just makes me want to have more kids.
Yeah.
Like I'm 40. Like I'll be 40 in March, right? My fiance is only 30, dog. I could keep making kids for another 10 years easy. You know what I mean? So if you guys want to keep pushing me, keep fucking pushing me. I'll keep making kids, dude. I don't, you know what I mean? Like not worried about it.
No, but you
But
guys
isn't
are
that,
right. It's like
I think that's the ultimate the ultimate white pill is that like I think raising the next generation is the best long-term strategy we have against
Right.
all this tyranny.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like and I'm not diminishing the great work that we're doing in the LP with the Mises Caucus, and I think that's all important in setting the foundation to help us raise our kids, that next generation in the best way possible. But like, we had a generation or two of people raised in just this, in all these things that we've been talking about. And like, we have to reverse that trend if we're ever going to have like a long-term sustained culture that loves liberty and that upholds, actual functional moral values and not this weird like come and lick it shit that they're pushing on kids and stuff.
Well, I
Gross,
tell you,
dude.
when you look at what's running the Democratic Party and what's running the Republican Party, really the only hope is a party like what we've all joined. I mean,
well, it's the best alternative for sure. I mean,
yeah, I mean, really, they really have nothing to offer. They have run out of stuff years ago.
no,
And they're not even running on empty anymore.
Well, here's the thing. If you want to know what the conservatives are going to be pushing, just look what the liberals were pushing 10 years ago. That's how they're just 10 years behind the liberals. So,
Right.
well, here's the thing. We need to get on the same page. Look, it's not just the libertarians that need to be breeding, dude. It's the Christians, the conservatives. I mean, these are the people that should be breeding right now and have as big a family as you can support, dude. Straight up, because it's true. I mean, in 10 years, if we keep doing that, these people out here that are killing their babies, they're not having kids because they want to focus on their careers and all this shit. Like they're going to miss out on an entire generation of kids, and they're all going to be ours.
right.
You know what I mean?
You guys are saying it perfectly. I kind of look at it this way. Like especially we're all on Twitter, and you get into fucking fights with retards on there who
Yeah,
just
that's how
would
I
be
roll.
like, I do too, of course. And
I
of
had to
course
quit. I had to quit that addiction.
it's still fun for me. But like, of course, the hack comeback line for every loser on Twitter to me is, I mean, you guys say it because we all know each other. It's funny, but like the hack comeback line is like, you're not funny. You're a shitty guy. It's like, oh no, a fan I never would have had.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
you never were my fan. You never would have liked me. You never would have liked anything I'd done. You never liked anything I said. You weren't like my comedy. You weren't like my podcast already. So you saying that means nothing to me. So it's kind of like when they just abort their fucking not kid. It's like, okay, so it just means it's good. It's like a blank slate. It's not leading to anything. It's not leading to a fucking lefty cause. And
they got. I'm glad that they're not breeding, dude.
Right. It's just like
important.
It doesn't matter. It's like
I'm gonna fucking outbreed them. Even if they start breeding, I'm gonna continue to outbreed them.
Well, the wages of sin is death.
What did he wait for the fucking?
There he is.
God.
There he is.
God.
How did he
came in with the zinger?
The greatest man alive, dude. The greatest man alive.
Was his ears burning? What a cunt! I hate him. God damn. He was like, right now.
By the way, I think you're probably in your top 3 funniest jokes is when you called Dan what a libertarian would look like if they were drawn by
if Tim Burton were a libertarian.
Yeah.
That was just an off the cuff roast. I wrote it while I was honestly here's the truth. I told Dan this. I was like he definitely roasted me because I got there late. And he's like, I know for sure during his speech, he had a roast, man. When I showed up, he's like, yeah, I roasted you in my speech. I was like, I fucking knew it. So I was like, I have to get him back. So the whole time, like Scott Horn talked for, I don't know, 7 days. So I had 7 days to think.
He's still talking.
He's still talking in Delaware. He never left.
Legend has it.
So I was like, I haven't had time to think about it. And I was like, got it. And then I get introduced. I had like literally 2 hours to think of that roast. So
nice.
Nice. Perfect to come up.
That was good. Hey, I just noticed something. Papa Nutter, do you ever get any louder than you are right now? Do you like raise your voice at all?
No.
No, he doesn't. He's
I think if he did, he's got a little Bernie Sanders sound to him. And I think if he raised his voice a little bit, he's like, and started yelling.
No,
like Larry David.
I could.
This is it.
I could fuck you, Dan. No, I think I think I could count on my hand the times I've heard you yell, like maybe 5 times my whole life.
Like a pretty chill guy.
Truly,
is it like the scariest thing in the world when he yells because like he's so calm.
Yes. As opposed to me, who's just always doing it. They're like, okay.
That's the same with me. Dude. I'm like, we're peaceful parents.
If you want to make an impression, do something you don't ordinarily do. Then you make an impression.
Yeah. No, I remember. That's why it's so memorable. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I remember that one time you yelled.
Was one of them when you were like, Dad, I want to join the NYPD?
Well, that was more of like,
that was about it. I was just like that.
That's how my grandpa. That's how my grandpa was too. My grandpa's he's an old school man. He passed away a couple years ago. But he was the greatest man I ever knew. Quiet, just even keeled, very reserved all the time. He had my grandma who was by all intents and purposes not an easy wife to have, and he was just always calm and cool. I love my grandma to death, but she could be overbearing a little bit, and he never raised his voice, nothing. And then one time they were bowlers. My grandma and my grandpa were bowlers, and they were on bowling league. So I'd go with them to bowling league till my mom got off work. And so I grew up at the bowling alley, right? And there was a tire shop in the parking lot of the bowling alley. And one time me and the other kids like scheduled a breakout, and we went over there. We were like playing in the tire, like the old used tires, and the security guard chased us, and he chased us into the bowling alley. And right as I got up to my grandfather, he grabbed me by the shoulder, and my grandfather goes, "You get your fucking hands off my grandson." And I was like, holy shit. Like, because I never heard the man cuss in my entire life. He'd smash his finger with a hammer out in the garage and be like, God dang it. You know what I mean? Like, he never cussed. He never said fuck. He never said shit. I mean, none of it. And you get your fucking hands off my grandson. It was the funniest thing. I'll never forget it. I was like, my grandpa's a superhero. That's all it is. He's got an alter ego. I'm sure of it now. So,
yeah, no, he's pretty calm, dude.
Yeah, he was an Italian, and he was that calm. So yeah.
That's almost the archetype that like we embody, though, right? Like we are. I mean, I'm not saying we're literally all quiet because a lot of us are very loud, but like in a sense, I think a lot of us like we wanted to live our own lives. You know what I mean? Like we didn't want to go out and get in people's business and be doing all this activism we're doing. But like the state, and especially the COVID tyranny, like I think it pushed so many of us to that point that it's kind of like that saying, like, when a good man goes to war, you know what I mean? It's just like they pushed so many of us over the edge to the point where we said, like, no, fuck it, we're not staying on the sidelines anymore. And so, like, I think going back in history, like I think COVID's going to be like that turning point where like it was the overreach, you know what I mean, that led ultimately, hopefully in the white pilled, future that I'm trying to future cast, that I'm optimistic about, like that'll be the tipping point when people can, maybe 100 years from now can look back and go like, and like that's the point that people, got together and said no more. Like,
well, that
like,
was
this ends
my
now.
tagline, dude. Like I was the one who I was the
Yeah.
one who did that. It was COVID.
Yeah.
I said it. I said COVID took me from let me educate you to get out of my fucking way or else. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it did.
Yeah,
That's really
it
what
really did radicalize.
Yeah, I
a
would
lot
have
of
to
fucking
say
people.
that was one of the great eye openers. It really, really did. I think it stripped away a lot of fog from the way people were thinking, and just opened up what was really going on.
I hear
So,
conservatives bashing cops while I'm at work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm just like it like I feel like I'm dreaming when it's like an existential crisis. Like what's going on? Like I mean,
and they're like stumping for holistic medicine now and shit. I'm
Right.
like, what the fuck is
But
going
this is
on
why,
here,
but
dude?
this is why like the right's still retarded with the cop thing, because like during COVID they were like, oh, you can't lock down like the bakery and stuff and like fuck
church.
you. But then the very first second like the BLM comes back around, they're like back the blue and like, hey, you guys don't get it.
But like I'm sympathetic to why they did that because there's a lot of these cities were
'Cause
getting
you're
burned
alt-right
down
racist, or
and
what?
Okay,
they
maybe that
weren't
wasn't a
being
good example, but you
they
guys know what
weren't
I mean.
being allowed to do anything about it. You know what I mean? So they were
You
like,
sure?
well,
You sure it's
fuck,
not because you're an alt-right Nazi like they call you in Fakertarians, buddy?
dude, I think I felt like I finally arrived when I was in their stupid little podcast intro, which I didn't even know about, except so after Reno, I I want to see some people coping and seething. You know what I mean? So I got on their post Reno stream and stuff, and I was like trolling them in the comments, and they were like, Jacob, this is why, in that thing you say in our intro, and I was like, what? So I went back and looked. I was like, I've been in their intro for like the past 10 episodes. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, I've been in their intro for a long time. Welcome to the club, buddy.
Yeah, they suck.
They have me pop up and say, the what's up, retards? I don't know why
I know.
they use that one. I mean, it's like I
It's the funniest thing that's ever happened.
I freely use the word retard. I mean,
I feel like,
I
listen,
know.
it's your public enemy number one. Dave Smith is right there. It's a big drop off, but I think I've cemented myself as maybe like in that third spot ranking right now.
Oh yeah,
They
you're
really
top
hate me,
five.
dude. They really hate me.
It's a big drop off. I mean, it's
But
like
the fan fiction that they spin in there, dude, that's another part of this
Oh my
culture war
gosh.
that we really need to talk
Oh
about.
yes, actually, good point. Because and speaking of the Vegetarians, this all ties into the culture war. We have this. I don't know. I think it's famous now outside of PA, but we have this signal chat called the Thunderdome. Jacob and Anthony know all about it, and I'm not in it anymore because the Thunderdome was essentially this chat meant to have like the Mises Caucus people talk to like everybody else in like an unregulated. Not unregulated is not the right word. On like official LPPA channel, right?
Yeah.
So everybody could just, and of course, it becomes lowbirds being like, "You guys are Nazis," and us being like, "You guys are faggots." Like that was the whole,
Right.
that was the whole entire chat, right? Like so, it just devolves into that. But when I was still in it at one point, I was getting sick of all of them defending all the pedophilia, trans shit. Like, and I mean, like they were pretty much just defending, like. The
Maps,
really
bro.
extreme.
They're maps,
yes,
bro.
exactly.
It's
they were
cool.
defending all that shit. So I remember I just dropped in a
Love
comment.
is
I was
love.
like, I dropped a meme in the comments. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I tweeted out a meme that said the reactions in a libertarian Facebook group chat when you make an anti-pedo meme, and it was like Sarwark, Waldenberger, like all the vegetarian, and it was all of them angry reacting to it.
Of course.
And then that immediately got to the signal chats being like, Adam Nutter, how can you do this? I was like, because it's fucking funny and true.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, you got, and I was like, I physically with my own eyes and ears heard and seen you guys defend this shit. This isn't hearsay. This isn't what I'm interpreting. I've seen it. I was like, I've seen the Vegetarians defend it. And then fucking, what's this fucking dumb face? John, what the fuck is his name? What's fucking
Hudak?
Waldenberger?
Hudak. Yeah, Hudak. No,
Hudak. Oh, okay.
Hudak. He's
Yeah,
like, whoa,
the buff
buddy.
midget.
Yeah, tough midget. Yeah, he's like, whoa, buddy, you better have some evidence. I was like, evidence? You say it on your fucking Twitter, you fucking cunt. And I was like, you guys are all fucking loser pieces of shit. I'm like, I'll fold all of you like fucking chairs if you fucking come at me. And I just left the chat.
Yeah, that's the thing. None of those guys are fucking tough. They're all pussies in real life, dude. And that's another part. I think that's another thing that we don't talk about enough in the culture war is a lot of these people that are acting real tough online, they would never ever say anything like
they're
that.
so awkward in person. So like,
Dude,
who's
so
that one guy
awkward.
like something Valentine or something like
Dave.
Oh,
that?
you're David
Yeah.
Valen.
He came up
was
to
the
me at
chair
the
of West
bar.
Virginia,
He
he's
came
a
up to
bitch.
me at the PA convention. It was just like, do you know who I am? And I was like, because like, hey Jacob, I was like, hey, he's like, do you know who I am? I was like, no. He's like, oh, I'm David Valentine. I was like, oh, cool. Hey, man, nice to meet you. And he was just like,
Yeah, you should have been like
just
your
stood
answer.
there doing nothing.
Your answer should have been the guy who's going to die of a heart attack and then his cats are going to eat him. That's what I would have said.
It's just like ridiculous. Like Sasha Cohen was there, like all these losers, and like they talk such
him.
shit online, and then like in person, they're just like these sheepish little people, and then like they'll apologize to you in person. They're like, yeah,
they really are
said some mean things, and I'm sorry, I should have done that. And, like the next day, they're back to calling you a Nazi. Like,
yeah, they're straight pussies, dude. That's the thing about it, dude. I went to 42 states over the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've met all of these people, dude. They've never done there's been in my entire travels, there's been 2 people in this entire party that have been brave enough to say the shit to my face. One of them was James Weeks, the fat man who stripped naked on stage at one of the national conventions.
Of course, we all know.
And he's a tough dude from Michigan, man. I get it. You know what I mean? And the other one is Brian Ellison, who like probably has some PTSD from his time at war and shit, but he's like 5'6" or 5'5", and he got in my face at the Ohio convention in 2018. I was poor. They had like this makeshift bar, and of course I went back there and I'm pouring everyone drinks and shit. And he comes around the bar and gets in my face. And Matthew McGowan at the time, who's a good friend of mine, he comes up. He's like, no, buddy, no, don't do it. You know, because I was gonna smash him. I literally could have just smashed him into the ground.
Didn't that guy hit his wife?
No, he didn't hit his wife, and I'm not gonna get into that shit.
Okay.
No, he pulled some earbuds out of her ear when he was talking to her, and then I know how that shit goes. You know what I mean? So I don't. You guys can say whatever you want, but
no, that was a genuine question.
Yeah, all these guys, they talk all this shit online. They won't say a fucking word to your face. Not a word.
We have a guy in PA, Anthony and Jacob know, Brandon Magoon.
He's
800 pounds and has a cane.
Yeah, he talks a bunch of shit about me too. All the time.
He was talking shit online to me. I was like, Brandon, I'll literally kill you. I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? I'm like, you literally are. You are a fat nothing. I'm like, what? The ball. And by the way, same thing. We were all at the LPPA convention together. Where the fuck were you?
Yeah,
pussy. Like they're all. It's so annoying.
I showed up to the Philly LPPA convention 2 years ago, and all those same people were there, dude. None of them looked at me. Not a single one of them would even talk to me.
It's my number one as a dude. It's my number one pet peeve. Like I by the way, as much as I don't like Brian Ellison, I don't really know James Weeks, but like at least they said it to your face. I would honestly be like, hey, touche.
Well, it really fucking like made me, even though he talks a bunch of shit about people, you know what I mean? Like calls people Nazis and stuff. He never said a word about my family. He's always stayed out of that shit, even before his own situation, which I respected him. I respected him because he was brave enough to come up and say the same shit to me in person. That made me respect. I was going to beat his ass.
Right. Of course.
You know, and I would have been like, I would have helped him up afterwards, or he would have beat my ass. I don't know, but I probably would have beat his ass. But here's the thing is like, I respected him for being able to do that. And in fact, when I went to this last Michigan convention, we drove up there with my whole family. I brought my kids and shit. And he came up, my son, my 10-year-old came up, and he's like, yeah, your dad's an all right guy. You know what I mean? Like to my son. And so that was really cool. Even if he's got bad feelings about me. And then when we were walking away, he's like, hey dad, that Brian guy's pretty cool. And I didn't correct him. You know what I mean? And so we talked about
Josh, none of the awful things that they did matter, because that mean thing that Ryan Dawson said 5 years ago.
Right. Like, and I don't give a fuck. Like, I've had Ryan on my show twice. I don't even really, at this point, like, I probably wouldn't have Ryan back on my show just because of the shit he's done after being on my show. Like, I'm not a big fan of the way he handled shit with Dave and other people. Like, I don't like that. Okay.
That's fair.
But like, even then, it's like, I had Ryan on my show. If you can go on my show and show me what he said on my show that I didn't push back hard enough on, or something that he said bad, like, I would love to hear what you have a problem with. But outside of that, I've had all kinds of people on my show. I had the fucking the gemstone, what's his name from fucking Georgia, who's like a hardcore lefty, the black dude. What's his name? Oh God, why can't I remember? He's actually a cool guy too. I hung out with him in Georgia. Everyone got mad at me for hanging out with him. Hardcore lefty, dude.
You also gave John Hudak 120 times more screen time than you ever should have.
Yeah, I know.
120 whole seconds of screen time.
I took a lot of heat. I took a lot of heat for that. People are like, "Oh, you kicked him off the show because you were afraid to debate him." Nah, dog. He's really bad at
You were on his show in debate twice. Yeah. You've been on his show twice.
I went on his show with Nick.
You went on by yourself once, and then you went on.
Yeah, and then I went on with Bass King Nick, and we were on for like 2.5 fucking hours, dude.
And they had nothing. They had nothing.
No,
Zero.
the best thing Nick did on that whole podcast was ask them what their favorite rap album was, and they literally couldn't answer the question. It's like that's the thing. These motherfuckers are like, you guys are racist. You guys are racist. I grew up listening to
We're
Biggie.
literally the
I'm
only
from
ones
Staten
bringing
Island.
prominent black people to the fucking party. I'm so tired of this fucking. You guys are racist,
annoying.
white nationalists. It's like you guys are
Bro,
a bunch of
anybody-
fucking
with
white
black
soy
people.
boys. Like,
Didn't the
anybody
same
who-
people in PA that call us racist say that Maj Toure was too street for the
Yeah.
LPGA?
right? Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you want to,
Black
if you
guy who
really
likes
want to know,
guns, you're like, this guy.
Right.
listen, I'll tell you guys right now how you can find out that I'm not racist. Okay, get a hold of Fat Dave, or Duke Chastain, okay, or C.D. McRae, or Fat Dave's wife, or any of these people that were in Florida that went out with me in the Florida State Convention this last year. Ask them if I'm racist. They will tell you that I am definitely not a racist person, and in fact, I may be the blackest member of the LP. I promise. There's a good inside joke there, but it's true. Ask them; they'll know. I listen. I grew up in a place where if I was racist, I would be dead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was one of two
I
white
went to an
families where I grew up, and all of my I've been invited to barbecue for a couple of decades, and I guarantee you, John Hudak is not invited to barbecue.
I went to
dude.
like an all-black church in Baltimore for like 8 years of my childhood. Like,
No, they don't get it. It's like I grew up in Staten Island. I know it was like it's not New York City, but it is. And like I grew up again listening to fucking rap. Grew up playing football
I'm
my
actually
whole life.
racist against you for being from Staten Island. But I
That's
mean,
fair. No, you should.
Is
be.
this
It's
Staten
fair.
Island like just one big landfill?
I'm wearing the hat.
It's a
And
dumpster and
yes.
some houses.
No, but I'm from
Thanks,
I'm
Josh.
from Oakland, bro.
I appreciate
like when Murray Rothbard said unleash the police, he really just meant like just at Staten Island, like just remove it completely, like just take all of those vagabonds and rootless cosmopolitans and just take them somewhere else.
No, Adam was a very good police officer when he could find the police department. He worked really hard when he could find it.
Dude, when I physically got there and I made it in my car.
You look like a police officer. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
dude.
totally.
Yeah, totally.
How?
Look at that mustache, bro.
Bro, it
Yeah,
just
it's
looks
definitely a cop mustache.
fucking weird mustache combo.
Yeah, that's not a beard, dude. You got like a 5 o'clock shadow with a fucking
No,
mustache, bro.
my dog is yelling
I know
at you.
I know you keep trying to show it, but it's not gonna change anything.
It's because of the dog whistles we're
Jesus
doing.
Christ, dude. Shut up, dog. Look at him. He's gonna go shoot his dog right now.
Again?
He's like, fuck, they're making fun of me for being a cop. I gotta go shoot my dog.
Papa Nutter's like, shit,
my
you got
wife.
another one?
Jeez. Going through a lot of dogs this year.
Look,
God.
he's laughing in 61% spousal abuse rate right now.
No, it's 100 with this one. All right, so I guess we can start winding it down with this question. What's a good way for us to change it back besides the outbreeding them part? What's another good way for us to start changing back the culture and our swing in like a quick timeline?
Resistance.
Start punching people in the
However,
streets,
whenever,
really, I think.
all the time. Get involved. Resistance. That's it.
I'm
Yeah.
no longer a
Say, hey,
peaceful
this might
person.
be a slippery slope. Right? Be loud then.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the kids at drag shows is a slippery slope, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
we have to embody the archetype of telling the truth in love, no matter what the consequences are.
Adam's gonna go shoot his dog. Jacob, I
Put
love
that
you to
gun
death,
down,
man.
Anna. Put
You
that gun
really
down.
love that work archetype a
dude,
lot.
I
do.
love
Holy
how
shit.
I love how we come with like the funny answers and the dick jokes, and Jacob's like, "Well, let me teach you a
Let me
lesson.
talk to you about the
Let me talk to you
archetype.
about archetypes and
Hey, Jacob, you talk about archetypes as much as No Way Jose calls himself as an anarchist, as an agorist.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot, dude. I love you though. I miss you, buddy.
I miss you too.
We don't talk enough anymore.
Yeah, you're too busy knocking up your wife.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep having babies just to spite the fakertarians. Really.
Too busy
That's-
procreating, like make
Yeah.
racist babies together.
and now somehow because I put out a Fundly because I'm building a new studio at the house, like an actual big like podcast studio like Tim, Pool has or something like Rogan's. We're going to have like a legit studio where people can come into the studio and stuff. And so I put out this Fundly because I'm like, well, if you guys want to help me build the studio, it'd be great. It's going to cost me fucking $20,000, right? And I'm sure I'm not going to raise all that money, but I may raise some. And so now they've somehow taken that to mean I can't support my kids. Right?
Of course.
And I'm like, bitch, I've been supporting this. I was supporting more kids 5 months ago off just my job than I have been the last couple of months because my oldest daughter moved out with my granddaughter, right? And so they're like, oh yeah, look, he's trying to grift more money so he can support his kids. I'm like, bitch, I support my kids just fine on my job. I'm trying to build a podcast studio. It's gonna cost me a shit ton of money, and I have all these kids. So.
Yeah, I think it's funny how they shit on us, and then like Archie Flowers is like asking for money.
Yeah, all of them. I've seen so many of these people put out GoFundMe's to like pay their bills and shit.
Yeah,
and
I'm like, what are you talking
bro,
about? How are you shitting on us?
Yeah, I put out a GoFundMe in the end of 2020 because I wanted to take.
You took your kids to Disney World, Josh. You fucking monster.
Yeah, well, and it's like we had.
I mean, in fairness, half of that's true.
Yeah, well, and yeah, I know, but we look. I'll tell you what it was. Okay, we got to see my daughter and then her two siblings that aren't mine biologically, and they came from absolute fucking hell, right? And I, as a dad, wanted to get them out of hell in their minds, right? And as a kid,
you asked people to support you in that cause, and people voluntarily were
moved
on our
by
own
that and on our own volition volunteered.
Well, and as a child, some of my greatest memories were the 2 times my mom took us to Disneyland in California, which is much cheaper, by the way. And I'll never forget those days. Those were like magical experiences to me. I loved Disney. I loved the Disneyland. I mean, now it's kind of a pain in the ass as an adult, but so I wanted to give them some big, huge experience that wasn't just like, hey, camping at the lake or whatever. And so I was going to do it regardless. I was going to save up and do it. And it was going to take me fucking years. You know what I mean? Like it cost us. There was 9 of us that went to Disney World, dude. Do you have any idea how much that cost? I mean, we raised almost $15,000, and I'm telling you, I spent a lot of my own money too.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so it was very expensive, dude. I mean, the flights alone were like $5,000 almost, or something like close to that, just for the flights. Okay. Then we had the hotel. We were there because we were there 8 days. So there was the hotels. There was the flights. Look, the flights and the park passes, right, alone were like $10,000.
Well, listen, if you think that people making money by providing value to people and that voluntary charity of people giving people money to support different causes or things that they think are worthwhile is grifting, you might not understand libertarianism.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, and it's not, and well, that's the other thing too, is they just keep using this grifting thing. And it's like grifting is a snake oil salesman who's telling people lies to make, to enrich themselves. And it's like, I haven't fucking lied about any of it, dude. I'm told you straight up, like, I'm trying to take my kids to Disney. If you want to help us, help us. And my community, who was awesome at the time, I had 20,000 followers on Twitter. Thanks, Twitter. Fuck you. They came together and helped me take my kids to Disney. And it was a dope ass thing. And I really appreciated it. You know what I mean? Like I do. But I never lied about it. It was never a grift. I was never like, oh, dude, if I really need this money to go help the poor people in my community. No, I said, I'm trying to take my kids to Disney World. If you guys want to help me, I would appreciate it. And they did. It's not grift. That's not how that works.
My point is,
well, the problem is
my point is, what was Archie Flowers doing? Was he grifting to pay his bills?
He needed to pay his bills.
No, that's my point. Is they wouldn't call that a grift, but they're calling your thing a grift.
The problem, and I'll use the word one last time, the problem is they're embodying the archetype of bitch cuckbucks.
We should turn this into a drinking game.
Yeah. From now on, every time it says archetype, I'm slamming a shot. Where's my bourbon? Holy shit.
All right, we could wrap it up.
I've been on a Jordan Peterson binge, so it's okay. It's in my vocabulary.
That's all right, bro. Maybe if you take some tranquilizers, you'll really get into it. You know what
I mean? Dad, where can everybody find you on Twitter?
Anywhere I'm
at Robert G. Nutter. Oh, and his podcast coming out soon.
He's like anywhere I'm at.
Anywhere
Dude, that's not how Twitter works, Robert. No. Come on, buddy.
He's getting it.
Way to boomer that question, buddy.
He's getting it.
Anywhere.
He's getting it. He's getting good with the tweets. And he has he does have a podcast coming out soon on just Very Network. So
nice, dude. Nice.
It's gonna be fun. So that would be probably the next year.
Two
Josh,
nutters don't make a right, bro. You know what I mean? What?
Josh, buddy, where can we find you?
Oh, yeah, you can find me at my new Not Me Twitter, and that is Balzania925. So it's BALLSAGNA 925, like lasagna with balls.
Yeah.
And then you can find me on YouTube as well at my show. That's youtube.com/fight the despots, or just look up Break the Cycle with Joshua Smith.
Boom.
We'll have a whole new studio soon, hopefully.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Mr. Anthony.
Anthony Portillo on Twitter. Yo with a Y-O. Makes me sound street.
Yeah.
Also, might be having a podcast coming to this network also.
Yeah, working on it.
Nice. You better get some better audio. Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh, yeah.
So,
no, we're going to talk about it.
He told me 10 minutes before the podcast that.
No, I told you hours ago. I just forgot to send you the invite, to be fair.
So I had to throw it together quick. I apologize.
Fair.
Jacob.
You can find me wherever Adam Nutter is, following closely behind, calling him gay. But you can also follow me at Biblical Anarchy on Twitter if you want. And again, website Daniel318.com, and Daniel3 Biblical Anarchy is the podcast on YouTube and all that good stuff. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
You know, you guys want to know something really funny? He goes by Jacob Daniel, and all my friends back home call me Joshua Daniel.
Well, I think it's funny how everybody just calls him Daniel now, and he hates it. So
every time I see Jacob Daniel, I think of all my friends who call me Joshua Daniel, because my middle name's Daniel. So
no, call him Daniel, and also unsubscribe from his podcast. Everybody, go.
No, it's a damn good podcast, dude. It's a good one.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My dad.
He likes it better than your podcast.
He does.
Sure.
Much better.
It's a low bar.
Better.
Low bar, but I appreciate it.
He also said though he doesn't approve of your drinking choice in wine. He's more of a hard liquor guy. He told me
Who the hell drinks wine?
Yeah, a little scotch, a little bourbon.
I only drink blueberry wine, and that's because
you're
my
gay.
good friend Will Bell out of Georgia, fellow meatcock. Okay,
He does have good wine. I've had.
Listen, if Jesus was walking the earth today and turning water into wine, it would be Rabbit Eye blueberry wine.
It is good wine. That's a good. Is he supporting your show now?
That out.
Is your show sponsored now?
Yes, and now I had a second wine company reach out to me and want to do a sponsorship too. So I was like, that's just gonna be my grift. It's just like advertising alcohol on my nice Christian podcast.
Nice. I'm looking for a new sponsor too. If anybody's looking, $1,200 a year. No, $2,200 a year. Sorry.
And listen, that Patreon tier is still there. $1 million.
I'll leave social media forever.
Shut the fuck up forever.
$1 million a month.
A month.
Yeah.
12 million a year is not bad.
Yeah, I will leave social media forever. You will never hear from me again. $1 million a year. That is actually a Patreon tier on my Patreon.
That's a good one.
When I went to go renew last month, I scrolled down to the bottom. I was like, "Oh my god, that's still there."
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of that. Somebody's gonna take me up on that offer
eventually.
Someday, yeah.
All the vegetarians are gonna pull their hard-earned money they got from other people giving
they
them
can't
money.
come up with $1 million.
You like GoFundMe to get off
GoFundMes,
Twitter for a month.
That's all they know how to do. All right, gentlemen, don't get off. I wanted to say goodbye behind the scenes real quick.
I already got off twice, dude. Are you am I allowed to do that here?
There's two.
What kind of fucking stupid party is this, dude?
How do you think you got all those kids?
You're right.
Working on it right now. You just can't.
You're staying after school.
They had 2 kids during this podcast.
Yeah,
probably.
dude. She literally delivered on the floor of the basement here while we were doing this. Dude.
Gross. All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. Find Adam on social media, Twitter and IG @AdamNutter, or Facebook and TikTok @AdamNutterComedy. And for podcasts and merch, check out www.droptent.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
This has been a Drop Tent Media Production.